Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to wait for a couple people to tune in. I feel like my internet is freezing as well. Let me know if you can see me or hear me. Not sure what's going on. I might have to go live again. If you're logged in, let me know if you can see me or am I breaking up? Is my voice breaking up? It's breaking up on my end, so I don't know what's going on your end. Let's see, make sure I'm on the right Wi-Fi. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Today's a casual live. So just answering frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions or you have your friends have questions, today is a day they can ask the questions. Have them come in and ask their questions, and I'll go over some of the frequently asked questions I get as well from my account. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐞 I am an immigration attorney. I represent clients in all 50 states in the United States and internationally with their family immigration matter. You can reach me at 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. If you haven't subscribed or followed or liked us yet, this is a good time to do it so you can be notified whenever I go live or whenever I post news or new updates in immigration. If you have friends who might be going through the immigration system, share this video with them. They might find it helpful as well. Good morning, Novia. Good morning, Anada. Good morning, Mahmood. Good morning, Colleen. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Okay, guys. So I want to answer your questions today. So good morning, Adole. You guys are telling me good morning, but you're not telling me, other than Inada, I don't know where everybody else is tuned in from. So tell me where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Abe. Good morning, Kayode. Good morning, Abe. Okay, so let me answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, type them in the comment box, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Let me find some questions that I get asked all the time. I get asked about fiancé visas all the time, and whether one should file a fiancé visa or whether or not they should they should go get married and then file a spousal visa. Which one is better? The answer is there's really not one that's necessarily better than the other. It just depends on the circumstances and what it is that you're trying to do. What do I mean by that? The process of a fiancé visa is this. You have to go over there. You have to see your fiance at least once, in the last 2 years. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to meet the income requirement. And when you file for your fiancé visa and you get approved for your fiancé visa, the fiance now has to come to the United States within 90 days. You have to get married, and then you have to do the other process, which is the adjustment of status that will give them their green card, and everything else they need. Okay. So yes, sometimes, now it's not so much clear cut. A fiancé visa in that sense can bring the fiancé to the United States quicker, but it has a longer process to finish and paperwork, right? Whereas if you file a marriage-based green card while your spouse is outside of the United States, when they get approved, when they come into the U.S., they're done. They get their green card. They don't have to rush to do anything else. They don't have to file any more paperwork. So the answer to that question again is, depending on your situation, you can decide if a fiancé visa is better for you or if filing a spousal visa is better for you. And for some people, they don't want to be out of work. So if they come here with a fiancé visa and then they have to wait like 7 months, 8 months, 9 months to get their green card, they may not want to do that, right? And some people are okay doing that. So you have to decide which one is better for you, okay? Abe, good morning. That's a good question. Abby asks, what are some common questions USCIS asks in interviews? Very good question. So for marriage-based cases, which is what I'm thinking that you're asking, a lot of times they want to know how you and your spouse met, right? So they're going to ask you about how you and your spouse met. They're going to ask you guys about where you live. What is your address? They're going to ask you, do you guys share bank accounts? Do you have a bank account? If you guys don't share bank accounts, they're going to ask you, do you have access to this person's bank account? Does this person have access to this bank account? It's really important that when they ask you about how you meet, that you guys have consistent answers. You know, sometimes they will just address one person, either the U.S. citizen, or they will address the non-citizen. Otherwise, there are a list of other questions that are asked, which is just too long to go through. If you are in an interview where they separate you and your spouse, you know, most of my clients will tell you, you know, I ask them over 120 questions when we do interview preps, just because, you know, I always like to prepare my clients that that could happen. You know, in some field offices, using Boston, Massachusetts as an example, they automatically separate couples. And when they separate couples, they ask you very intimate questions. They could ask you things like, what is the spelling of your spouse's name? What street do you live on? What is the street on the corner of your street? What grocery store do you guys go to or is near your house? What car did you guys come into to this interview today? So the list goes on and on and on. So it's really important that before you go for an interview, no matter how long you think you've been married, you want to make sure that you and your spouse still study each other, because they're going to ask you questions that people that have been married a long time don't necessarily know, you know. So it's just better to just imagine that nothing is off the table. So I'm just going to try and answer all, to think of all the questions they could ask me. They would even ask you sometimes, what color is your cabinet in your kitchen, right? How many TVs do you guys have? What do you guys have curtains? What was the last big purchase you made? So, you know, every officer is different, but the core ones are, of course, you know, how did you guys meet? How did they propose to you? What was the last, did you guys exchange Christmas gifts, you know, and things like that. So just, you know, try to prepare. Some people are lucky and they have so many bona fides that they literally don't ask them any questions. They just go through the questions in there and they let them go, you know. So if you're one of those lucky people, then great. So hope that answers your question, Abe from Dallas. Damara says, I've been in the US from 2010. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. He never filed paperwork for me. He has abandoned the marriage. I don't believe in divorce, so I'm stuck. I need documents to work. So you are not stuck. Definitely give me a call. Let's evaluate you and see if you qualify to self-petition yourself. And if you do qualify, I will go over the process with you and how to get your work permits and your green card, okay? My number is 407-995-6567. And then Novia asked, can I get married again before I put in my citizenship? What is your current status, Novia, that you're asking me that? So Coyote says, my friend has a valid application with your office. She does not have access to the ex's birth certificate. Is that important? Because she put it in before to change status and has a valid work authorization. Coyote, ask your friend to call us. If she's our client, we can give her the advice that she needs. But generally, if you are filing a valid claim and you don't have access to your abuser's birth certificate, we can usually request verification from USCIS to verify that person's citizenship. So that doesn't put a stop on your case. But Coyote, whoever your friend is, since she's our client, she should feel free to ask us a question or put it in the client portal, and me or one of my staff will be able to get back to her, okay? Good morning from Tennessee. Okay. Narissa says, does your spouse go to an interview together with you? Yeah, okay, so yes. If you're doing a marriage-based case, are you guys seeing me? I think my Wi-Fi keeps freezing out. I'm just going to change my network on Facebook because this is very Can you guys see me on, okay, can you guys see me now on Facebook and YouTube? I'm just getting disconnected so much with this horrible weather. If you can see me before I start answering the questions, please comment in the box and let me know. Yeah, so Colleen, can you see me now? Am I still frozen or you guys can see me? Okay, so it's better now? All right, awesome. Okay, so let me go back to the questions. Okay, so Narissa says, does your spouse go to the interview together with you? If you're filing a marriage-based case, yes, your spouse goes to the interview with you. Your spouse has to go to the interview with you. The only time your spouse doesn't go to the interview with you is if you're not filing a marriage-based case. Like if you're filing a vow petition, your spouse is not going to go with you. If it's through your employer, H-1B, your spouse is not going to go with you. But if it's a green card based on marriage, your spouse has to attend with you. Unless you're attempting to change your petition because your spouse is an abuser. They make special exceptions if, your spouse is deployed or, in prison and stuff like that. But the general nexus is that your spouse needs to go with you to the interview. Can I file for my mother on a green card and my husband outside of the United States? No, if you have a green card, you cannot file for your mom. You have to be a U.S. citizen to file for your mom. To file for your husband, it's okay that you're a green card holder. If your husband is outside of the United States, yes, you can file for him. And visas are currently current right now. So if you want to do it now, because every month that changes. Next month the visas may not be current for you as a green card holder. So if your spouse is outside of the United States, this is a good time, TikTok, to file. But for your mother, you can only file for your mom, for your father and your mother when you become a U.S. citizen. I want to say that I believe you're one of my clients and you're eligible for citizenship. So do your citizenship quickly so you can file for your parents, okay? Demare says, what is your number again? My number is 407-995-6567. I'm going to put it in the comment box again. Hopefully you guys get that. Okay, so Colleen says, I'm asking for a friend. If you're still married and living together, how long after you get your 10 years green card can you put in for your citizenship? So you count from the date of your green card. You can put in for citizenship if you are still married and living with your spouse, starting from 2 years and 9 months of your marriage and of your green card. Basically, the idea is that after 3 years, you're eligible to file for citizenship so that by the time, they're processing your case, you can become a U.S. citizen. So hope that answered. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, I know a couple of people said the live is freezing, so I hope you guys are seeing me now and it's no longer freezing. Okay. My husband made us fail because he doesn't pay any attention to anything. He probably doesn't even know what color the drapes in the house is. My husband will make us feel, oh, absolutely. A lot of men, guys, don't come for me here, but a lot of men, they have a hard time remembering things. And that is why preparation is key. I've had clients come to me after a denial who have been married for like 4 years and 5 years. But, the wife wanted to study. The man was like, oh, we're really married. Why do we need to study? And then they went in there and they failed. And they're like, you guys, matters of the heart is what they call it. Like, you guys don't have, you guys are not acting like a married couple, or as a married couple, why don't you know the answer to those questions? Narissa, once you know that your interview is scheduled, just beg your husband to study. You guys should study, and so that you can pass the test. Okay. Shiha on TikTok says, what if your asylum case got denied and now you're out of status and expired visa? Well, you should be praying that you've not been referred for removal proceedings, because usually when you get denied for asylum, they send you to removal for deportation. So you're not going to have many options unless you have another way to process your case, through marriage, through your child, or something like that. So it's not necessarily the best situation. So hopefully you're able to figure that out. And then somebody asks me here, can my U.S. citizen husband file for my mother? No, your U.S. citizen husband cannot file for your mother, but he can file for you. And when he files for you and you become a U.S. citizen, you can file for your mother. Now, if you're filing for your mom and you don't meet the financial requirement to petition for your mom, your husband can be a joint petitioner, but only you can be the primary petitioner when you become a U.S. citizen. Oh my goodness, this Wi-Fi is driving me crazy today. I see that I'm freezing and freezing and freezing. Narissa says, we've been married 11 years. Oh, listen, my husband and I have been married 11 years, and he cannot remember one of our daughter's birthdays, and only two of them share the same month. So I get it. You know, people forget things all the time. And then Narissa says, what is the right price for the N400 application? Do you mean what is the filing fee? The filing fee is $725. That's for the form and for the biometrics. Yes, Colleen, the live is going to be saved, so you can go back and rewatch it once I get off the phone. Somebody says, okay, she's still typing her question. My husband is in the U.S., is a U.S. citizen, will live in the British Virgin Island. He doesn't pay taxes in the U.S. but your stuff is not finished, nor is your question. So I'll wait for you to ask that question. Somebody asked, do you do asylum? No, I am not currently taking any new asylum cases. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? Do you guys have any other questions before I jump off? I know I had some. Once it says, thank you, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Narissa says, I keep sending $12.70 and they're sending it back. Of course, they're sending it back, and that's too much money for an N400. It's too expensive. That's the cost is $725 if you're filing for only one person's application. And that is actually one of the biggest reasons. That is one of the biggest reasons why, what you call it? I was going to say that people get rejected. You know, people get rejected because they send the wrong filing fees. So make sure you are sending the right filing fees, okay? 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐞 says, I have an appointment to speak to you next week. So excited. Awesome, awesome. I'm excited to speak with you as well. How long after your biometrics do you get your work permit? Honestly, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know, it's, you know, a couple of weeks, you know, sometimes I would say at least 8 weeks, sometimes if you're lucky earlier, but there's really no rhyme or reason to it. So you just have to just patiently wait, and hopefully it will come within 2 months of your biometrics, okay? Somebody asked, well, what is the implication of not filing an asylum case within 1 year? For those who are wondering what he's asking, typically you need to file an asylum petition within 1 year of being here. There are exceptions that are made if you can show undue circumstances that cause you to file it late. I mean, does it make your case a bit more complicated? Yeah, because you have to prove why you didn't submit it, you know, or conditions changed, but it's not impossible. Somebody says, how early can you get married after you get divorced? That is your personal problem. And whenever you choose to, there's no rule as far as remarriage or non-marriage within the world of immigration. It's up to each individual to determine when they want to remarry. Jessica says, do you know when registration starts for Haitian TPS and the criteria? Girl, I do not know either. Like, it has taken so long, you know, we're waiting and waiting and waiting, you know. Since they announced it a couple of weeks ago, we've been waiting, you know, for them to publish it on the Federal Register. So right at the second, I don't know. And hopefully when they publish it, they would have the requirements. And as soon as that information comes out, I will probably also post it. It's just taken forever. Okay, let's see. Do you guys have any other questions? Let's see what my time is here. Let's see if I've answered everything else. Somebody asked, what if your mom spent 6 months out of the country on their green card during the pandemic? So the question, or the question that I'm asking you back is, well, is your mom here already? After 6 months, it's not so bad. It just counts back her. She's basically counting all over again for her naturalization. But if it's after a year, that could be a problem, just because, she might be asked to sign that she abandoned her green card, and she would have to do the application again. So please don't let her stay out too long. Let her come back. Okay. Let's see. For someone that filed in after 2 years and is approved, can such a person be granted a green card if filed for? I actually don't understand the question on Lamri. If you don't mind, can you just please rephrase the question? I don't get it. Somebody says, hi, can I travel on advance parole, VAWA, if I've worked as an F1 before? Will they know when I come back at CBP port of entry if I worked? So working is not the issue. If you're applying as a VAWA applicant and you get advanced parole, generally a person, so I am not giving you legal advice. I am speaking about what the information is and what the rule is. A person who submits a VAWA petition and gets advanced parole, who is not in a deportation or removal order or has not been ordered removed, can generally travel outside of the country. Now, it is at the discretion of CBP whether to let you back into the country or not, but most of the time that is honored unless there is an issue. Working under the table, if you're a VAWA applicant who's married to a U.S. citizen, is not necessarily a big issue unless you claimed to be a U.S. citizen. If you claim to be a U.S. citizen, that is a problem. So I hope that's not your case. Somebody asked on TikTok, when a green card spouse files for his wife, how long does it take? When a green card holder spouse files for their wife, it depends on where they are located. If you're filing for your spouse outside of the United States, depending on the country, your timeline could go anywhere from 15 months to 18 months. It just depends on the country, visa availability in that country. There are certain countries that the visas are not current. And other countries that the visas are current. So it just really depends. I would need to evaluate your own particular case and look at the visa bulletin to be able to give you a closer answer. And then someone says, can someone file for their children at the same time as them after marrying a U.S. citizen? Absolutely, yes. But if you marry a U.S. citizen and the person filing as a step parent of your children, you want to make sure that you were married to that person before your children turned 18. If your children were not 18 before you married that person, your new spouse will not be eligible to petition for your children. Okay, so my fiance is a U.S. citizen. She's on Section 8. Can she still file for the green card for you? The answer is it depends. We got to see what your financial situation is and if they think that you guys could be potential public charges, so that's something you're going to have to think about. Colleen says, can you put in citizenship before you get your 10 years? The 10 years was approved already. So these are two questions. So if you're a conditional green card holder, and your conditional green card is pending and they've not yet given you your 10-year green card, once you hit that 3-year mark and you're still married, yes, you can apply for citizenship. 1, if you're applying based on a joint removal of condition, or 2, if you're applying based on extreme cruelty. As a matter of fact, I just conducted an interview yesterday where we had a joint interview, my clients and myself with USCIS officer, for both removal of conditions for his 10-year green card and naturalization. We're keeping our fingers crossed for his approval. I know he will get his approval by God's grace. But usually when you do that, they will schedule your 2 interviews on the same day. So you're preparing for your removal of condition and you're preparing for your naturalization interview all on the same day. So Mahugnan on YouTube says, is a psychology report a must to prove a valid case? So it is not a must, but it is very, very helpful because it is credible evidence. So it's not a must, meaning can you get approved without psych evaluation? Many times, we've got clients that get it without a psych evaluation. But when you don't have a lot of credible evidence and a lot of what is happening to you from a psychological standpoint, an emotional standpoint, the report from a psychologist or a psychotherapy therapist has a lot of weight. It shows a lot of value that no, this person is obviously going through stuff. So yeah, if you can get it, get it. If you don't have it, it's not a requirement. Just make sure that you're airtight in every other area. Okay. Stacy says, what do you need to bring with you to an interview? So that's a very broad question. It depends on what kind of interview are you having. But generally, when you get an interview, it will specifically state on your interview letter what you need to bring with you. Some things you may have already submitted to them. But I generally like to have my clients still bring a photocopy of everything. I personally take my client's entire file of everything that we took with us, because sometimes we'll go there and a lot of times there's people in the scanning room might scan something and they didn't scan everything, and the officer might say, I don't have this, did you guys submit it? I'm like, yeah, we submitted it, and I can easily pull it out and give it to the officer, that here's the copy, because you don't want not having everything you need to be what stops you from getting your approval quickly. Good morning. How are you today? My question is about my brother and sister sponsoring. We have a case almost 13 years. Do you think we'll get through? Well, the answer is it depends on what your priority date is. So I would need your priority date to be able to go into the visa bulletin and tell you what they're processing and what it's looking like for you. But, you're almost at the finishing line. I'll say that right now, most cases are taking about 15 to 16 years for siblings. But that also doesn't, but because you've already waited 13 years, I don't know what your priority date is. So I have to know what your priority date is to check there and see. Okay. All right. Okay, so Tammy says, good news. On a different note, we have received his green card. Yay! Now we're planning to travel, but I need a visa. What is the best way to get it, online or through help? What kind of visa are you trying to get? I don't know what you're trying to get. Are you in America? Are you a U.S. citizen? It's hard to answer your question. All right, let's see. Okay, Valentine says, I have an appointment for biometrics at the immigration office for becoming a citizen. And after the biometrics, what will be the next step? After your biometrics for naturalization, the next step is your interview. I can't tell you the timeline from between your biometrics to your interview, but that is the next step. After your biometrics, they schedule you for your interview. Make sure you study your civics test. Make sure you've been paying all your taxes and you don't owe any back taxes. Make sure you don't owe any back child support. Make sure if you were between the ages of 18 and 26 when you got your green card, that you registered for selective service. And otherwise, just go in there and smash that test. Cindy says, please read mine. Cindy, I cannot find yours. There's so many questions here. I cannot find it. You can just copy paste it again so I can see it. Colleen says, are you on YouTube? Yes, I am on YouTube. And I actually don't know what my name is on YouTube. Look for the Chidole Law Firm. Maybe it's under Chidole Law Firm or Aisha Chidole. I'm not really sure, but I know I am streaming on YouTube. I mean, I could pause and go look at it, but just type in my name. I'm sure I'll pop up. Somebody says, my husband lives in California and I'm in Nigeria. If he files, I want to know how long it'll take. Right now, there's a big backlog in Nigeria. So it's going to take a long time. It's going to probably take like at least 18 months. The reason why is because, if you guys remember, President Trump had a ban on Nigerians that were petitioning for their family members last year, and then the pandemic also hit. So there is an immense backlog, and so they're just going in order of time. Hopefully they'll find ways to make the process go quickly, but you're looking at 15 to 18 months at the very, very minimum. Oh, Tammy, I got you. Okay, so you're American and you're traveling with your husband to Nigeria. Yes, you need a visa. And your husband can also help you get what's actually easier for you to get your Nigeria. So first of all, I'm an immigration attorney. So don't take my legal advice on Nigerian process. Obviously, I'm telling you this as a Nigerian who's a dual citizen, the process, but this is not what I do. I don't handle Nigerian immigration. But you need a visa to go to Nigeria. It's better for you to get your visa, and when you get your visa and you get to Nigeria, your husband can actually help you get your Nigerian citizenship as the spouse of a Nigerian. It's easier to do it there. Depending on where you live, Nigerian embassies either in Atlanta, Washington, D.C., or New York. It's really tough, getting your papers on time, but, follow their process online and hopefully you get it before you travel. I would even say try and make sure you get it before you schedule your travel plans. Okay. Sean says, after a prima facie determination letter, how long before a work permit? A work permit and a prima facie determination letter are not connected at all. They're two different things. So it depends on what you applied for, like what kind of work permit you applied for. Did you apply through adjustment of status, or did you apply through VAWA when they approve you? So the answer will really depend. If you applied it through adjustment of status, timeline could be anywhere from 5 to 8 months. If it's through VAWA, it could be 2 years to 2.5 years. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna jump off very soon. Let me see what else. Someone says, I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I file for my granddaughter? No, you cannot file for your granddaughter. You can only file for your child. Now, if your children are willing to terminate their parental rights, and you go through the adoption process and the waiting time, because there is a waiting time. There are two ways for adoption when you do the adoption. Well, it depends on if you're part of the Hague Convention. Adoption is a whole nother ball game, and it's a bit complex, but it's possible. It's just going to take a long time. But her parents have to terminate their parental rights, so they cannot be her parents anymore. But a grandparent cannot file for a grandchild. Let's see. Sydney says, my mom filed for me about 15 years ago. The embassy said the case is closed because she did not respond to her email, but my mother does not want to go and reopen the case for me. What could I do? I live in Trinidad. I'm so sorry. I don't know what you're going to do. You got to beg your mom. Why doesn't she want to file for you? That sucks. But they're not going to be able to reopen it. Okay. Somebody says, can a marriage of 22 months have 10 years after the interview? No. After the interview, when you get your approval, you need to have been married for at least 24 months and 1 day, for you to get a 10-year green card. Mahugnan says, my friend's VAWA case has been approved. Will he go for an interview, or will they just send him his green card? Excellent. So there's a 2-step process to approval for VAWA cases. The first step is to get approved for VAWA. And then once you get approved for VAWA, you do then have to get approved for your green card. Sometimes they will approve you without an interview. Other times they will schedule you for an interview with your friend. I don't know what option they're going to do, but he should be ready for whichever option it is. Okay. Let me see. Olariwaju, so I don't handle asylum, so I prefer to talk about the types of cases I handle, so it'll be helpful to, prospective clients. So that's why I'm skipping your question. Hi, Shanique. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, like us, share this video. When you get approved VAWA, what are the benefits of the approval? Can I get financial aid? Binta, you can actually get financial aid before you get approved for VAWA. If you get a prima facie determination letter, you can get financial aid. You just have to renew it. The prima facie, technically they give you, they automatically renew it for you yearly, but you just have to make sure you're updating that. But that allows you to go to school. Yeah. Gwen says, my dad is an American. I'm in the Philippines. How can he get me the easy way? Don't we all wish there was an easy way, right? We all wish there was an easy way to be able to come into the United States. Your dad just has to petition for you. Just like, anybody else, your dad has to be able to show that if your parents were not married when you were born, that you were legitimated, right, before you turned 16. That meaning he either in your birth certificate or that he claimed you, or there's an ongoing relationship and all of that stuff, but you have to go through the normal petitioning process. Don says, if your wife cheated on you, do you still qualify for VAWA? That is one where an evaluation is necessary. A person that cheats is not necessarily an abuser, right? But there are patterns of cheating and behavior of cheating that can arise to the level of abuse and extreme cruelty and putting one's health at risk or one's emotional state at risk or mental health. So we have to be able to evaluate and ask intimate questions, which are not best answered on live, to determine whether it's enough to make a strong VAWA case. Okay. Somebody says, my sister is pregnant. Is she able to file for my mother in Jamaica? What does her pregnancy have to do with her filing for your mom? What do you mean? Like, is she a U.S. citizen? If she's a U.S. citizen, her pregnancy status doesn't have to do with whether or not she can file for your mom. If she's a U.S. citizen, she can file for your mom in Jamaica. Okay. All right, guys. Can a green card holder file for children above 24? And how long does it take? The answer is yes, they can. But those children over 21 cannot be married. If you're a green card holder, you cannot petition for any married children unless you become a U.S. citizen. And right now, the timeline, as of right now, is 5 years. It is actually a year quicker than U.S. citizens filing for their children over the age of 21, which is, funny. But right now, as of the calendar, it's about 5 years. Child Bless said, good morning. I've been married for 24 months now, and I haven't gotten my interview yet. Am I going to have a 2-year visa or a 10-year visa? I mean, green card. Thank you. So for you, the good news is that you're most likely going to get a 10-year if you do get approved, because by the time your interview is scheduled, it's been more than 24 months. So awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back here tomorrow, somewhere between 9 a.m. to 9:15. So tune in, share this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.